When did you find out that the Players Network was going to be doing this for Desire Street?
A little while back, Chris Doring reached out to me, and just it was a great call. Of course, Chris is a great friend, and it's always great to hear and see him, and which is just part of the reason why the whole Florida Players Network is so cool. It gives us Florida former players a chance to reconnect and build those relationships, and so that was great. And then when he mentioned just that they wanted to take the proceeds from the weekend to support Desire Street Ministries, that was a super boost. As many people know, that's really close to my heart and what I do, helping people in the inner cities all over the country. So it's a win-win-win in many ways for me. I get to hang out with old buddies. I get to meet new friends. We get to raise money for Desire Street and all there in Gainesville. So it's a great time coming up April 10th.
This is your 10th year as the executive director of the organization. Did you think, Danny, when you started this, that it would reach out to as many people as it has?
It's one of those things where, I got involved just to help while I was playing at the Saints. I didn't start it, and I just got involved and then really believed in what we were doing there in New Orleans. And, there had been a lot of talk initially about trying to expand that beyond, but, you just never know how those things unfold. And the irony is that Katrina, on one hand, was brutal in so many ways, and yet on the other hand, it sort of forced us into this new model of growth and expansion. And so that's why we're now in several different communities across the Southeast and growing. And so it's another example of those tough times that can often lead to unexpected blessings. And I'll also say part of that whole story unfolded because the Gator Nation really stepped up and really supported me in Desire Street and has since then. And so literally through Katrina and many other storms, we've all stuck together, and it's a blessing.
I want to ask about the Florida Players Network too, Danny, because like you said, you get old friends and maybe Gators that you didn't play with in your era, but I think that's one of the neat things about the Florida Players Network, that it has Gator players from all eras. You can sit and, swap stories, but also find out some history about Gator football. Isn't that true?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to be there. I unfortunately haven't got to participate in many of the events. And so, I'm familiar with the guys I played with and a few, younger than me and a few older. But there's just a whole lot of amazing history of people that have played for Florida, and to give us the chance to interact and get to know each other and kind of come together on efforts is one of the cool things. And the other, just that anybody can come, So anybody that's a Gator fan or has been throughout their lives will, probably get to see different people that they've followed for years or decades even.
It's almost 20 years since that national championship year. I can't believe it's been that long. Can you?
No, and most of the time I can't, and then I'll roll out of bed and try to walk, and my ankle will hurt and my knee, and then sometimes. But for the most part, it's gone really quick.
How are you health-wise, Danny? How you feeling?
Appreciate you asking. I'm doing great. The struggles I had with the autoimmune disorder years ago are pretty much behind me, and I'm very fortunate that, unlike other conditions which are very chronic and continue to cause trouble, I'm very blessed that this is more the type of thing that you go through and then you can move beyond. And so I really don't have many, if any, effects sticking with me other than just getting older, but that happens to all of us.
Yeah, it sure does. I want to ask, too, about your thoughts about Jim McElwain. I don't know if you had a chance to really talk to or meet him yet, but are you excited about the hire and maybe getting a Gator offense back in gear again?
Yeah, all those things that you just said are exciting for me. And, at the end of the day, when you win, you're happy, and that's what you want. But as an offensive guy, it's also a little more fun. It's a little more electrifying to see a high-powered offense. And so I'm really looking forward, not just this year, but in the years to come, how that unfolds. And, it's hard to make a big transition in year one. And, you get behind in recruiting and you don't have the guys that you were going after. So, I'm really looking forward to what he does with the program over the next several years. And I think he's a great hire. I visited with him on the phone and in person one time, and just like everybody else, anticipating the fall.
Danny Wuerffel, our guest here, Gator great, who's going to be here over the Orange and Blue weekend, part of what the Florida Players Network is doing. They are honoring his Desire Street Ministries. Danny's involvement with that certainly over a long period of time has helped tons and tons of people. Two last questions, Danny. When Coach McElwain was interviewed post-practice the other day, he talked about footwork for his quarterbacks and that being an important part of what they teach. Was that the case with you under Spurrier?
Oh, man, yeah. Coach Spurrier is really big on footwork and the drops and the timing of that. You know, so many activities in life, be it sports or even other things, there's sort of a foundation or a base, if you will, that you have to have before you can perform some of the more intricate things. You know, some might be called fundamentals or other things. But, you know, when you're talking about quarterbacking, it's so easy to get caught up in the spiral and the arm and the accuracy and the decision-making. But if your feet aren't solid, if you're not getting yourself in good positions time and time again, you're most likely not going to be as successful unless, there's few exceptions, Brett Favre being one of them. He's like the only guy I know that had terrible footwork and was that amazing. But for the rest of us mortals, you better get your feet right.
That's interesting. Danny, if somebody wants to help out Desire Street Ministries, what can they do?
Super. Well, for us, I would definitely, send people to our website, desirestreet.org, and we've got some things in Florida and around the Southeast to be involved in. You know, for this particular thing, I think the most exciting opportunity is to come be a part of both. There's a golf tournament on Friday morning, April 10th, and then there's the blue carpet event that night. And so there's tickets available. And so, if you're a Gator fan anywhere, come hang out with me and a bunch of other former Gators. You can get tickets if you go to facebook.com/FPNGators. So that's facebook.com/FPNGators, or you can call 404-822-3231, 404-822-3231, and I hope to see a bunch of you there on Friday, April 10th.
Yep, that's going to be that's at the golf course. They'll start at 7 in the morning, and then that night, 7 to 8 p.m., with the blue carpet extravaganza with Danny there. Danny, number one, I'm glad you're better. Two, it is always a pleasure to have you here. You're always welcome, you know that, and thanks for taking time with me.
You got it. Thanks for all you do, Steve. God bless you, buddy.
All right, Danny. Thank you, buddy. Danny Wuerffel, who, again, needs no introduction, class act that